Hello, everyone, and welcome to Health for Naija. I have a wonderful guest today with me. My namesake, actually. My name is Ngozi Okwuosa. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, Ngozi is a very experienced childhood educator. She has over 20 years of experience, and she's an author. She's the writer of a book called Rapulu's Rainbow Stars. She lives in Frankfurt, and I'm so happy to talk to her today. Our topic today centers around albinism. Thank you so much, Ngozi, for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, as you already said, my name is Ngozi Okwuosa. I live in Frankfurt. I'm an early childhood educator, and I wrote a picture book with the theme, with albinism being the theme of the book. The main character of the book is a Nigerian boy with albinism.
This is really great. And the reason, one of the reasons I invited you to speak, I know we met online, a Facebook community called Concerned Parents and Educators Network, wonderful group. And we met there, and I invited you to come and speak because of your book. Basically, I had written a summary on my blog about albinism. And when I saw that you had written this book, I was really excited. And I thought I'd like to have her on my podcast. And now we have YouTube. So this interview is going to be placed on both sites, the podcast and YouTube. So let's talk a little bit about albinism and what inspired you to write this book.
Yes, I never thought I would write a book ever. But when I was on Facebook, one of my Facebook friends, Rapulu or Anale, who happens to be a Nigerian young man with albinism, he published a post. And this post touched me so deeply and moved me that I was compelled to do something about it. And if you don't mind, I would like to read his email.
Please do. But we'd love you to. This is the kind of content we need. It's very authentic and it's wonderful.
And it's good to hear it from his voice,
Yes.
And then you understand why I was so deeply moved. Okay. And this was a post he published on the 19th of May, 2020. I call it Rapulu's invitation. And it starts this way. Walk with me a little bit. I want to share something with you. When I was in primary school, just like most persons with albinism, I had horrible vision. I didn't sit with my classmates. I had to sit on a special seat made for me. It meant that just by sitting arrangement, I was alone. But this just wasn't the only issue. My teachers and classmates always made fun of me. Whenever I stepped out of line, my teachers would always tell me how I'm going to turn red if they flogged me. My classmates somehow found that hilarious. And what it meant was that anytime I had an issue with someone, they either are going to say something about my eyesight or how I am going to turn red at the slightest provocation. This kept going on up into secondary school and university years. People still do that today. When I got into the society after school, at every corner, I always met groups of children singing to me, chanting about my color, asking if I could see them. I had adults who stopped me and gave me something to read or point at something for me to check if I could see it, just for their personal amusement or curiosity. A lot of people will think that this would have stopped a long time ago, but it hasn't. Most must it not all most, if not all persons with albinism still go through the same issues in one form or the other? The issues I had in primary school some 20 years ago, kids with albinism are still going through the same. Nothing has happened. Nothing has changed. Not then, not now. Here on Facebook, I get sexualized on a daily basis in my inbox by people who should know better. A lot of times, I wonder what my sisters go through. And at this point, I have to say Rapulu has 2 sisters with albinism. I am a man and I go through these stuffs. So I wonder what my sisters experience. No wonder they are not found on social media. You wonder that, and then you wonder what others who by circumstances beyond them couldn't look as good as I do, who aren't possibly as confident as I am, what these people go through. Because people like me represent only 5% of the over 2 million persons with albinism in Nigeria. The funny thing is that a lot of people would tell you that they are not discriminatory against us, but they watch it happen. They witness it and they say nothing. Business as usual. 13th of June is the International Albinism Awareness Day. And as always, I will join millions of persons with albinism all over the world to ask you to speak up and speak against physical and social discrimination against us. I witnessed something today that made me really sad this evening, but it shouldn't have, because I should have gotten used to this treatment by now, but I am not. May you do better.
Thank you for sharing. That is a very powerful statement there. I think I'm just going to talk briefly about what is albinism for the benefit of the audience who don't really know what this condition is. So I'm just going to say just 1 or 2 things about it. So basically it is genetic, which means it is inherited. And it's basically characterized by little or no melanin. So people of color who appear as though their skin is white because they have little or no melanin. And this condition predisposes to skin damage from the sun. And also they have eye problems and need regular checkups for those things. So that is the condition called albinism. It also affects the hair. So there's lack of pigmentation. So the hair tends to be white, or it could be maybe orange in color. So that is the condition called albinism.
Yes, and that's why reading this email, I went back to my memory of my childhood in Nigeria. And I could remember how children with albinism that we had in our class or just in other classes in the school were called names and, you know, excluded from things occasionally. And sometimes there was no empathy for the fact that they can't tolerate the sun the way we do. So I had these memories and I decided that I was going to help Rapulu Oranale because he has started going to schools to talk to teachers of new students with albinism to help them integrate them better in the class. So I thought that it would be very nice to give him a storybook to take along. It would help him to explain things to the children and build a bridge. But unfortunately, when I checked all the online bookshops that we know, I didn't find any. So this was what inspired me to say, okay, I need to write a story with a boy or a girl with albinism. And of course, because I was inspired by Rapulu's email, I decided to call it Rapulu's Rainbow Stars. Yes.
Yeah, I've looked at it. I've looked at the content, and the book is just wonderful. It has a lot of pictures. I like that you focus more on pictures. I think children learn best with pictures. Do you agree? I did do some reading up about your bio and your interest in teaching, especially, you know, when it comes to giving like storybooks. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yes. You know, when you have a concept that you want to present and break down to children, then pictures are really great because it makes it visual, and it can pull them into the story to feel how the other child feels in such situations. So that's why a picture book was a great option than just writing a flowing text. And also, it reaches out to younger children that don't read yet. So you can read the book to them and show them the pictures and, you know, draw them in. And then, you know, I broke down the concept really to the level of a child. For instance, there's a page where Rapulu talks about his body parts, like he's trying to say, I'm normal. You see, I have 10 fingers and I have a nose and I have a mouth and I have 2 eyes and so on. And that's also a very good time to get kids, sit them down and ask them, how many fingers do you have? And okay, you see Rapulu too. He's very normal. He's just regular like you. He has 10 fingers and 10 toes and a nose and all of that. So, and then another thing that is always also an issue is that Rapulu is, of course, pale skinned and blue eyes and blonde hair, and his parents are dark. Also, he has a dark sister. So I represented that in the book because persons with albinism that I talked with always, you know, brought up that point that sometimes people tell them that that can't be your family because
Right.
you look different, you know. So these are the kind of concepts that you can present very well in picture books so that children will understand, okay, this is regular, you know, if he has albinism, his sister may not have albinism, and his
Right.
parents may also not have albinism. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I liked in your Instagram, on your Instagram, you have a link to a website, and I did look at the video on there where the teacher was explaining to the kids that you have eggs, and even though eggs are different colors, it's still an egg inside. And I thought that was really great.
Yes, because that's you have to bring things down to the level of a child's experience so that the child will really grasp the concept. So in this particular case, the teacher brought in 2 eggs, a brown egg and a white egg, and showed it to the students, and then said, let's peel these eggs. And they peeled the eggs and cut them into 2, and inside of them, they were the same. So the teacher now says, we are all the same on the inside. And what matters is that we use what we have inside of you and that inside of us. And that makes us great, you know?
Yeah, I think the information you're sharing is, I mean, when I heard what you said about the teacher, Rapulu's teacher, what he said, I mean, I think the teachers, a lot really is on the teachers to provide good examples.
Yes, and that is why I had to put the teacher into the story. I could have told the story without the teacher, but I felt that storybooks always have 2 sides. They're talking to the person reading the story, who is usually an adult, and they're also speaking to the child. So this would be a very good opportunity for a teacher to say, wow, I never thought of that. That's a good idea. Maybe next time I bring 2 eggs and we do this thing in front of all the children. And her thinking also is influenced from the passivity that we experience often, because teachers in Africa, especially the one I'm sure of is Nigeria, don't have a training in the area of integration and inclusion and diversity. These are topics that are not really handled in the teachers training in Nigeria. And that's why people with albinism often feel even more excluded. Children feel more excluded in class because they can't see, and then there's name calling happening because the child is maybe near the blackboard and all of that, and the teachers don't really know that they can do something about it.
Yeah, I think International Albinism Day is a very important day. Raises awareness to the fact that people with albinism, they have equal rights and they need to be treated fairly. And I think that is something to really emphasize. I would love to see your books in all the libraries in Nigeria. I really wish that for you, honestly. So what are your plans and dreams for the future in terms of your book, taking it forward? Because I know it is on Amazon, and how do you get it into the hands of the people who need this information?
Yes, right now the book is published here in Germany and printed here in Germany. And then, of course, when it gets distributed in Europe and America and Britain, maybe via Amazon and other bookshops, the prices are, to go with the economical ability of people living in the Western countries. To get it down to the grassroots of Africa, I would have to get mass printed, huger quantities, maybe of the quality and the size and everything that would let it be easier for people in Africa to buy it or to get it distributed through NGOs or schools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is my wish. And I would love to have the book. Right now it's in English. I've had a French translation, and I would love to have a Swahili translation and maybe a Braille translation, because some people with albinism are born blind, or near blind. So I believe that there are some Braille schools in Tanzania, and so they would love that. So these are really my hopes. So I would be very happy if people would join me in this vision with a contribution, because I can't carry this all by myself financially. So I would be open to people joining me and making this happen. And and then we see where this book goes.
That would be wonderful. I see you have an Instagram page, Ngozi_rainbow stars, and I'll put that in the description link of this recording. And I see you have a Kickstarter.com project page that has all the information and the links to donate to your program. So I will also have that link in the description page as well. And I think it's great. I think the work you're doing is fantastic. I've seen the quality. It looks wonderful. And so before we head out, do you have one? I always ask my guests if they have one pearl of wisdom that they can share with the audience.
Oh, I think what I would like people to do is not to close their eyes, and when something moves them passionately, to get involved in it, because that opens doors to greater things.
Yes, I think that's even how we met. It was some topic on this Facebook community group, and you had made a comment, and then I clicked on your link, and then I saw your book, and I thought, oh wow, this is great, because I did a little write-up on albinism, and I thought I'd love to interview, and I reached out and you said yes, so here we are. It's really, really wonderful. So where can people find you?
Yes, they can get me in Instagram, as you already said, Ngozi Rainbow Stars. You can get me on Facebook. Ngozi Okwuosa is my name. I also have authors group, Rainbow Star Media on Facebook. So these are some of the ways you can get to me.
All right. So I think we did a great job talking about albinism and how to advocate for people with albinism and the resources available, your book, which is on Amazon, and also how to support you in your work. And I want to thank you so much for taking time of out of your busy schedule over there in Frankfurt and coming on. And it's really a pleasure to meet you.
It's also a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Bye.